and we will have a chance to address some persistent problems: low productivity, slow growth, high inequalities, a looming climate crisis. We can do better than build back the pre-pandemic world. We can build forward to a world that is more resilient, sustainable, and inclusive. We must seize this new Bretton Woods moment.
Of a great power in the form of China rising and the United States having its let's say, relative decline. So we're at a point, I think, that is very similar to 1944. There's a war. At a war, after a period of war, there is a period which there's a peace because nobody wants to fight the country that has won the war, and there's a new world order. And there was
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
We have China and Xi rise today. Today marks the rise of the fourth industrial revolution and the emerging markets. And we know the rise of the robots, algorithms, and drones, plus crypto, is rising in the emerging market. The United States was placed behind on purpose. We know we funded all the technology. I've done plenty of videos on it. And we know Ray Dalio. All these big corporations have been in China for decades. We know all our manufacturing went over there strategically just for this moment. And all of a sudden now, because the automation is coming in, they want to bring manufacturing back to America. They know the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency is about to fall, and we're about to get into Bretton Woods 2.0, where we're going to have the rise of China the Dragon along with that digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. And the BRICS nations pushing the Belt and Road. And we know anytime America is in trouble financially, what happens? The drums get to beating. And why Xi now is in power. And we have November 8th, Republicans will get back in power. We know the Hegelian dialectic and the clash is about to begin. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Explain that my perspective is very much like a mechanic of cause-effect relationships. It's not ideological, but to me, the economy works like an economic machine, and it's a perpetual motion machine. And it has long-term cycles and short-term cycles. I've learned that whenever I made a mistake, many things happened that didn't happen in my lifetime before, but happened in prior lifetimes. So I just want to describe very simply how the machine works and where I think we are, because the same things happen over and over again through history, going back many dynasties in history. First, there are four major drivers. There's productivity. In other words, over a period of time, our living standards rise because we learn how to do things better and we get more output per man hour. Then there's cycles, short-term debt cycle, recession, expansion. Economy becomes too weak, inflation is low, monetary policy creates credit, credit creates demand, and then you have a pickup, tightening of monetary policy, and then we have the recession in those cycles. So that's around this productivity. Around that is also a long-term debt cycle, which is an accumulation of these other cycles, in which then there's a cycle which ends largely when you have a situation where you hit zero interest rates and then you print money and it's not as effective. So we'll talk about that in a second. And then, of course, there's politics. Those are the four things. There's internal politics, people at odds, internally and externally. So I think the period that we're in is unique. And let's say we're 10 years into, well, let's take technology. Technology is artificial intelligence and so on is replacing people, and it's great for the whole, but it changes the nature of the environment, and that's going to happen. A very important implication in the years ahead. As far as the short-term debt cycle or the business cycle, we're 10 years into this expansion, And many of those stimulants that happen will be dissipating. We won't have more interest rate cuts that are material. You won't have more tax cuts and so on. And this is true around the world as we have our obligations. So we're coming into this period that is sort of a big sag, not a debt crisis in that way, but a lot of obligations that are coming at us, particularly in the mature reserve currency countries. And they include pension obligations, healthcare obligations, and the like, large deficits which will have to be monetized. They'll print money to deal with that. There's a reserve currency issue. That also means that if there's stimulative if you get a downturn, you're not going to have monetary policy work the way it did before. That enters the political realm of coordination of fiscal and monetary policy. It's a new world order. As far as those are the cycle. As far as the politics, naturally, because of this particular dynamic, because of three major factors, there's a wealth gap, a widening wealth gap, and with that, an opportunity gap and a values gap. That's because monetary policy buys financial assets. That makes financial assets go up, and those who have financial assets have a lot of money, a lot of demand. There's technology that's changing that and creating wider spreads. It benefits companies, but it also displaces people, and there's globalization, those factors. And then, of course, we have the external conflict or the issues of the rising of a great power in the form of China rising and the United States having its let's say, relative decline. So we're at a point, I think, that is very similar to 1944. There's a war. At a war, after a period of war, there is a period which there's a peace because nobody wants to fight the country that has won the war, and there's a new world order. And there was a new monetary system. 1944, we established the dollar, reserve currency-based monetary system, and the like. And I think that all of those is going to really change the world order in dramatic ways in the next 10 years.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip. of the 3 books, there's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.